I've helped a lot of tech workers relocate to Seattle, and the mistake almost all of them make is the exact same one. They start looking at homes before they understand the commute math. And then 6 months later, they're sitting in traffic on the 520 for 45 minutes each way to work, wondering, how did I end up here? So before you open Zillow, watch the rest of this video. This video is built around one idea. Your job location determines your neighborhood, and everything else, price range, lifestyle, amenities, comes second. I'm Brennen Clouse. I went to Stanford, worked at Microsoft, and I've been selling real estate in Seattle for over a decade. I've done this relocation conversation hundreds of times. Here's the framework we're gonna follow. First, how to actually think about this decision. Seattle is divided by water on all sides. Lake Washington separates the city of Seattle from the east side, like Bellevue, Kirkland, and Redmond, and crossing that lake means crossing one of two bridges, either the I-90 bridge or the 520 bridge, and both get congested. There's literally no workaround. The good news though is that the East Link light rail now runs from downtown Redmond through Bellevue and into downtown Seattle. And this genuinely changes the math for some commuters. I'll walk through what that means specifically. So which company are you working for and which campus? That question determines everything else. Let's go through them. First, Amazon and the South Lake Union campus. Amazon's primary Seattle campus is in South Lake Union, or SLU, which is a neighborhood just north of downtown. The campus is literally massive and growing. It's changed the landscape of downtown. If you work at Amazon in SLU, you have the most neighborhood options of any tech company in the Seattle area because you don't need to cross the water. Capitol Hill is 2 miles from Amazon at SLU. If you bike commute, it's about 15 minutes. If you take the light rail from Capitol Hill downtown and then bus from Westlake up to SLU, it's about 20 minutes. Capitol Hill has dense housing, strong walkability, and a serious restaurant and nightlife scene, and lower median prices than neighborhoods like Ballard or Queen Anne, around $595,000 median. Capitol Hill is best for single people or couples who want urban density and going out. Now, Queen Anne is 1.5 miles from South Lake Union. You can walk this commute or bike it in under 10 minutes. Queen Anne is a lot quieter, more family oriented, has beautiful views of the city and Elliott Bay, and the median prices are around $1,050,000. Queen Anne is best for couples or families with a higher budget who want a calmer neighborhood feel close to downtown. Now let's talk about Belltown in South Lake Union itself, living in the neighborhood where you work. This is higher density, newer construction, lots of apartments. Walking is your best commute here. If you're coming solo or as a couple and you want the maximum convenience of a neighborhood, this makes the most sense. There's not a lot of detached single family homes. Mostly this is condos and apartments. Now First Hill and Central District. These are both increasingly popular for Amazon workers. They're close in, more diverse, prices slightly lower than Capitol Hill, and a really improving restaurant scene. A few minutes by bus to South Lake Union. Ballard. Ballard is possible, but I want to be honest. The commute from Ballard to SLU by car is 20 minutes on a good day and 45 minutes on a bad day. And Ballard does not have great transit options to SLU. If you're committed to Ballard, make sure to factor that in. Amazon in Bellevue, HQ2. Amazon has been dramatically expanding in Bellevue. If your role is based in Bellevue, you're on the east side, and you should seriously consider living on the east side if you can. So let's talk about downtown Bellevue. This is walking or biking distance to the Bellevue Amazon campus. The median home price is around $700,000 here for condos. They're newer construction, highly walkable for the east side with access to that East Link light rail that I mentioned before. The pros here are new, clean, walkable by east side standards, but the cons are less character than the Seattle neighborhoods and more of a corporate feel. Crossroads in Bellevue is more affordable, great food diversity. Seriously, the international food scene in Crossroads is definitely underrated, and slightly further from the Amazon campus, but still bikeable. And the median around here is $900,000 for single family homes. Now, Newcastle and Factoria are South Bellevue. Families tend to like this area, and I want to make an honest point here. If you work at Amazon Bellevue and you want to live in Seattle proper because of lifestyle reasons, you can make it work, but you're looking at 25 to 30 minutes in commute time each way against traffic on 520, and the cost difference between Bellevue and similar Seattle neighborhoods is often smaller than people expect if you're looking in the right areas. Just be clear-eyed about what you want and why that makes you want to cross the lake every day. Okay, now let's talk about the Microsoft Redmond campus. Microsoft's main campus is in Redmond, northeast of Seattle. If If you work there, Seattle proper is going to be a really painful commute for you, and here's where I would recommend looking at instead. Redmond itself. It's really walkable to the Microsoft campus. Downtown Redmond has definitely improved significantly. There's restaurants, coffee shops, a growing community feel. The median price is around 1.1 to 1.3 million here for single family homes. East Link Light Rail now comes to Redmond and to Bellevue and goes to downtown Seattle directly, which is a big deal for things like weekend trips and occasional downtown meetings. Kirkland is also an option, 10 minutes from the Microsoft campus by car on the western shore of Lake Washington. Beautiful waterfront, one of the most livable cities on the east side, great restaurants, and walkable downtown. The median in Kirkland is around 1.2 to 1.4 million. If you have a family and a budget in this range, Kirkland should be high on your list. Now, the one thing about Kirkland is ideally you don't have to get on any highways to get to Microsoft, and that will make your commute better. Bellevue is 15 to 20 minute drive to Redmond. Access to Bellevue's top rated schools, which are consistently ranked as #1 in Washington, is really important here. The median home price is significantly higher at 1.4 to 1.8 depending on the neighborhood, but the school quality is premium in this area. Now, Sammamish is also an option, just 20 minutes drive from Microsoft, very suburban, newer construction, top schools, strong family community, some of the best school districts in the state as well, and the median price here is around 1.2 to 1.5 million. If you have kids or plan to have kids, Sammamish deserves a real serious look in your options. Let's talk about Google in the Kirkland Urban campus. Google has a significant campus in Kirkland Urban, right in the heart of downtown Kirkland. This is an excellent commute situation because Kirkland itself is one of the most livable cities in the metro. If you work at Google Kirkland, you can actually walk or bike to work from much of downtown Kirkland and Juanita, which is quality life upgrade that most tech workers don't get if they have to commute in a car. Now, downtown Kirkland and Juanita are closest to the Google campus. Waterfront access, walkable, small town feel with good restaurants, and the median price here is around 1.2 to 1.4 million. In Redmond, you're going to be close to Kirkland, have the East Link Light Rail access, good balance of price and convenience, the median around 1.1 million. If you live in Bellevue, if budget allows and family considerations are primary, Bellevue School District is consistently the top, like I mentioned before, on the east side. Now, the East Link Light Rail, what does this actually change? The 2 line is now finally operating from downtown Redmond through Bellevue and into downtown Seattle. It ends at the International District Chinatown stop. This is new and it really matters for commute because what it means practically is if you work at Microsoft Redmond or the Redmond Tech campus, you can now take the light rail from Redmond to downtown Seattle in about 40 minutes. No driving, no traffic, no parking. For occasional downtown Seattle trips, meetings, or weekend use, this is excellent. If you work in downtown Bellevue, you can now live in certain Capitol Hill or International District apartments, and you could take the light rail to Bellevue in about 20 minutes. The stations that are now most strategically positioned for East Side commuters are the stations like Mercer Island on I-90, South Bellevue, East Main, Bellevue Downtown, Spring District, Bellred Road at 130th, the Overlake Village, Overlake and Northeast 8th, Microsoft, Redmond Technology Center, and downtown Redmond. Neighborhoods within walking distance of these stations are seeing increased buyer interest for good reason. They're so close to these new stations. Here's the framework I use with every tech relocation client. Step 1, where is your primary office and how many days a week will you be there? A hybrid worker who goes in twice a week has different constraints than someone expected in all 5 days of the week. Step 2, what is your budget? The East Side generally starts at $1 million for a good single family home with good schools. Seattle proper has more entry points in the $700,000 to $900,000 range, so consider that as well. Step 3, what is your life phase? Are you solo or a couple with no kids? Are you planning to have kids? Seattle neighborhoods give you more lifestyle per dollar. Families with kids or planning for them, the East Side school districts are hard to match and definitely a factor when you're considering public versus private school. Step 4, figure out the commute by actually driving it or doing it by transit at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, not on a weekend, not on Google Maps during off-peak hours. Do the real commute. I help tech workers through exactly this framework all the time. And if you want to talk through any of your specific situation like company, campus, budget, or even life phase, I do a free 30-minute call that's zero pressure. You can text Seattle to my phone number at 206-899-9101 or hit the link in the description to book a slot with me. My My free Seattle neighborhood guide also covers the East Side neighborhoods, including Bellevue, Kirkland, and Redmond side by side. You can download that at the link below. I'm Brennen Clouse. I'll see you next week.